It's painful for me to know that nearly every death we are seeing now from COVID-19 could have been prevented.
The U.S. Surgeon General speaking at the White House press briefing this week to announce his new war against misinformation. Dr. Vivek Murthy calling online disinformation about the vaccines an imminent threat to our country's health. Former Surgeon General Jerome Adams from Indiana saying this week in the United States nearly all COVID-19 hospitalizations and deaths are occurring in unvaccinated people. The risk of severe adverse events after any COVID vaccination remains far lower than adverse health outcomes associated with COVID. Let's talk about it now with our panel. With us today on Zoom, UIndy political science professor Dr. Laura Wilson and 2016 vice chair of the Indiana Trump campaign Tony Samuel. And here in studio, former GOP lawmaker Mike Murphy, former communications director for the Indiana Democrats Jennifer Wagner. Good to see you all. Jen, there are more and more concerns about the Delta variant, the case numbers going up, and it seems more of an urgent effort right now to get people vaccinated and to get them to listen to trusted sources and not some of this misinformation out there on the internet.
Absolutely. It's absolutely heartbreaking to watch these stories of people who are coming into hospitals with COVID and saying, oh my gosh, I regret not getting the vaccine. I really should have done that. And I do think that the misinformation campaign is important. I also think it's really important to see efforts to go into communities, whether it's the mobile efforts here in Indianapolis or going into places like Dollar General stores and making the vaccines more available to people who really, really need them.
Mike, your thoughts on that, and how do state and local officials try to cut through some of that noise and convince those who are still hesitant?
Well, I have to disclose, first of all, that Hirons is doing a lot of the governor's COVID communications work.
Your firm,
right
yeah,
now.
right.
So I want to make sure that's
sure.
out front.
Appreciate
there.
that.
But I will tell you,
how do you do it?
that last night on national television, Frank Luntz, the famous pollster,
GOP pollster,
he came out with a new idea. He said, you know, he said you can't yell at people, you can't threaten them, right? Or they'll rebel. He said the most, I guess, intimate, trusting relationship in any family is not the wife and the husband or even the parent and the child. It's the grandparents and the child. He said we need to enlist grandmothers because nobody turns down a grandmother when she asks for a favor.
Some reports, Frank Luntz may also be helping the Biden administration now with some of those messaging efforts now. Laura, we spoke earlier in the program about the pandemic's impact on our crime rate, on our economy, and also on our schools. Some pretty troubling standardized test results here in Indiana from this past year that came out this week.
Well, there were. When you look at those iLearn results, I think they were 11% down relative to the 2019 test scores. Only 28% of students passed both the math and the English. But I also think when we consider the fact that we had an international pandemic, though it's disheartening, in some ways, those should be expected. The headline would have been if students were at the same level or if they achieved more in this past academic year. There's certainly a lot to catch up. I know we all would say this. I applaud the teachers, the administrators, the staff, the family, and of course the students. It was a very hard year. The test scores reflect that, right? But this is the opportunity as hopefully things get back to normal, that we're able to make up those strides and that students are able to get that material and really start to master the content so that they're able to be successful when they ultimately graduate from high school.
I'm hoping for a better school year ahead in so many ways, no doubt. Tony, what about the news? The state is doing far better than originally anticipated when it comes to our economy. We've got those tax credits that'll be going out next year to every Hoosier. Do both state and federal leaders deserve some credit for this?
Well, definitely at the state level, Republicans who have put the state in great fiscal shape for more than a decade now, and that's what you're seeing because the states and at the U.S. at the national level, because we had a strong economy, we were able to rebound better than states that didn't, or that countries that were in poor shape before the pandemic, before the crisis hit. And you're seeing that in Indiana. Now we've got robust revenues above the forecast, and Hoosiers will benefit. Those were Republican state leaders at the legislature. You mentioned the super majorities that you've had in the House and Senate and Republican governors. So that's where I lay just about all the credit at the state level, and also for the Trump administration, the economy that was roaring before the pandemic hit. That's why you were able to recover sooner than other countries.
Democrats this week saying the American Rescue Plan should be added in there in terms of some of the potential reasons why we're doing better. Hey, we showed you this video earlier. We talked about those supermajorities, and back in 2012, the walkout Here in Indiana, when Democrats in the General Assembly left for Illinois to try and prevent a vote on the right to work bill, it didn't work. It kind of backfired politically. The GOP picking up those supermajorities that Tony just spoke of there. You see some of those state lawmakers, former House Speaker Pat Bauer there at the hotel in Illinois where they left to after walking out of the State House. Some of you were pretty involved back then. Jennifer, that's back in your days as communications director for the state party. And as we look at what's going on now in the state of Texas this week, what are your thoughts on their methods here and whether there's really any hope of blocking that controversial election bill? Is it a difficult maneuver to use while some Democrats are also calling for an end to the filibuster in D.C.?
So, turning back time to this was a fun point in my career, let me tell you. We had a path forward in Indiana to get the governor to take right to work off the table. So I think the walkout, we took a principled stand. It was a negotiation tactic. It ultimately did not work. In Texas, they face a much more difficult plight because Governor Abbott has said no matter how many times you go, I'm just going to keep calling a special session and bringing you back. So I will say, though, that when you were in a minority, and I've been in the minority for most of my time in Indiana Democratic politics, that's all you can do. You raise awareness and you hope people care about the issue.
And Mike, what's your response to that? And how much does the former president's rhetoric on the 2020 election and the transition of power earlier this year kind of complicate this issue as well?
Well, first of all, walkouts they never accomplish what they want to accomplish. They're really about telling your base that we're fighting for you in the General Assembly, okay? There have been more exciting walkouts, actually. The one in 1995.
You were just telling us about this one in 95.
John Gregg led the Democrats across the farm
and
fields.
you were in the legislature.
And I was
then,
in the legislature.
Yeah.
I was a rookie then. And he kept them out for a week or week and a half. The Republicans walked out. I think it was 2001 over redistricting. We thought we were being treated unfairly. Of course we did. We were in the minority. And so that always happens. What the former president is doing is he's not helping anything, quite frankly. All of his rhetoric is meant to stir up emotion and to break down the process. Okay. This is supposed to be a process where you compromise and negotiate one-on-one.
Okay. We're also looking ahead here to the next election cycles here in Indiana. Fundraising reports out this past week. Senator Todd Young bringing in a lot of money ahead of his run for re-election next year. Then there's the race for governor in 2024. Some interesting fundraising numbers reported this week amongst the potential GOP candidates for governor. Suzanne Crouch with more than $1 million in her campaign coffers. Eric Doden, the former IEDC chair, raising nearly $1 million himself. Tony, quickly, surprised to see him there up at the top of the pack in terms of fundraising so far?
Well, Eric's a very smart guy, a very aggressive guy. He's got a lot of good connections around the state. Remember, he was at IEDC for quite a while. He raised most of that money, about 109, I think it was, different contributions, put some in for himself and his family, but the vast majority was from other folks, and he's got commitments for a lot more. So he'll be strong. His challenge will be getting a message across. He'll have, the money will help. But he's not well known. But that can change with good fundraising.
Okay.
Suzanne Crouch is a powerhouse at fundraising, and she'll be the leader in all of this.
She's raised a lot of money so far. All right, coming up next, what a new study is saying about Indiana's workforce. We'll talk with a local group that just got some key results back in an important study on our economy.